Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon.
Hello, and welcome to Let's Sip and Talk with Frema. So tonight we have on a special guest, Prince Dykes. He is the founder of the Investor Show. So he's going to hopefully share some knowledge with us tonight. And for the ones that may not know too much about stocks and all that good stuff, hopefully we'll learn tonight. So without further ado, let's bring on Prince Dykes.
Hi, my name is Wesley, and I make investing easy and fun. What are stocks? Stocks are shares of ownership in a company. Companies sell stock to raise money to research, create new products, and hire employees. How it works? When you buy stock, you become a shareholder and own a share of the company. If the company's profits go up, your share in those company goes up. If the company's profits fall, so does the value of your stock. Stock prices can rise and fall every day. You make money if the stock becomes more valuable than the price you paid for it. How can you buy stock? You can buy stock from an online or face-to-face broker. That's all for now. Until the next video, good luck!
Hello.
Hey, how you doing? That's been a long time since I seen a video. That was it's like a throwback right there.
So, Prince, tell us a little about yourself before I just, go ahead and dive in so quickly.
Yeah, I ain't nobody special. I'm just a regular guy with a couple ideas that do a couple things, That's pretty much it. You get online and talk, wrote some color books, pretty much it.
Okay. Now I see where in the flyer said author of 4 books.
Yeah, that was a little misquote of my books. I have 3 books. I have Wesley Learns to Invest, Wesley Learns About Credit, and Wesley Learns About Insurance. So I have 3 books. Yeah, there will be 4 actually, but right now.
Well, that's good. I didn't know that the first time that I met you that it was, that you were actually had multiple books out. I didn't know. Oh, yeah. I think I mentioned, or maybe you just said books, and I just assumed one. But kudos to you. So with the good stuff, or like, what would you like to share with us when it comes to stocks for individuals that may not know too much about stocks? Like, how would you give them information on to help them understand? Which that cartoon kind of helped. But what more information can you give us?
Well, I look at it and I say, we live in a world where we have an invisible tax going on, whether you know it or not. And that invisible tax is inflation. The price of goods and services going up every day. And I always love to use the metaphor of like a can of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is one of those things that a can of Coca-Cola 20 years ago, it cost then and what it costs now. And we all on our grandparents or great grandparents and hear the stories of, we used to buy a can of Coke for a nickel, and now it's like $1.25. So what caused those prices to go up? And just the price of goods and services, so every day, if you're not investing, you're essentially losing. Even though nobody's coming to your account taking money, you're losing. So you have to form a way, whether it's real estate, stocks, or investing, you have to invest. And then what we just seen right now in the economical terms with the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, last March when the pandemic started to hit, he interest rates to an all-time low. Low interest rates is bad for savers, but great for investors. And what I mean is with very low interest rates, less money you make off of savings accounts, less money you make off of CDs, checking accounts, or whatever. And the interest rates are so low, they're not even keeping up with inflation. So if you're saving money, you're essentially losing money. So the only way you can grow or you got to think, well, how can I match or beat inflation? Because you rent a house or you rent a apartment every year, and if your lease, that letter saying, "Oh, we're going $5 or $10,
Right.
or whatever." So everything is going up around you, and you got to ask yourself, if I want to get out of this situation, I have to invest. There's no way around it. So that's my
So where does one go to actually start off to invest?
I always tell people to first ask yourself these three very big questions. One, what is your risk, right? How much risk do you want to over? You're a high risk person, low risk, medium risk. Second question, I probably got it backwards. Your time horizon. How much time do you have? Is this a 20-year venture, 10-year venture, 5-year venture, 1-year venture? So once you know your time horizon, hey, and I always tell people, if you don't at least have about a 5-year time horizon, you should look at stocks. They're very volatile. Right? Who knew the pandemic was right? And start shutting down stores. And before that, in 2008, what happened in 2008? Who knew the housing market was going to crash? Who knew in 2000 was going to be a dot-com bomb? Who knew in 87 that we was going to have a glitch in computers and people was going to get scared? So, and going to the future, something else would happen. So if you don't have at least a 5-year time horizon, I would say, well, stocks may not be for you at this particular time. So know your time horizon, because the reason why your time horizon is very important, because let's say last year you were retiring, you needed your money. If you needed your money last year, it was not a good time to sell and take out, around that March, April, May timeframe. But if you were someone who was new to investing, it was an opportunity to start investing. So I would first say, what is your time horizon? Then I would say, number 2, what is risk level? Number 3, how much only have $10 a month, $5 a month, or I have 1,000, 10 million, 10 million. Those are the 3 major questions, basic foundation questions. Once you know those, start to look for access to money.
I'm sorry, I missed the last part.
Oh, I said, know those 3 topics, not the 3 topics. Once you answer those 3 questions, once you know your time horizon, how long do you want to hold an investment for, then you know your risk level, your high risk, low risk, medium risk, and you know how much money you're looking to invest, then you can shape how and where you want to start investing. That'd be my first 3 basic questions I would ask everybody.
Okay, so I need to know exactly how long I want to be in an investment, if that makes sense. How much I'm willing to put out there, and what it is I want to invest in. Is that right, or did I said one wrong?
Your risk level. How much risk are you willing to take? Are you very risky? Yeah.
No, I'm not very risky at all. So
if you're saying, hey, I'm very conservative, I want to invest for 5, say if you're investing for, I have a 10-year-old son or whatever, or I retire, I'm looking to retire in 10 years. I have 10 years, I'm low risk, and I have $10,000. Then once you know those 3 questions, then people can shape and say, hey, look, since you're very low risk, some people like to invest in Section 8 properties, Section 8 real estate properties, right? Hey, this is pretty low risk since it's funded by the government or whatever, right? Or somebody say, hey, I'm extremely risky. Then they may go in on a partnership with someone to purchase a franchise. Hey, you know what? Someone in Chicago is opening up a 7-Eleven and they're looking for investors. You can put $10,000 there. This could be a potential payout. They're looking to build a company for 5 or 6 years to potentially sell it. Or you may know someone who is starting a new company. That's if you're, once you know that risk level and how much money you have, and what's your risk level and how much money you have and your time horizon, then you either yourself or you can hire a professional to sit down with you and say, well, if this is the box I'm in, where can I go? And they usually will provide you a list of options of, this is where you go, this is your risk level, this is what you can expect to return. These are, advantages, disadvantages, and kind of go down that path. Okay.
What do individuals, let's say individuals, I don't know if I want to say middle class, lower class, what type of investments are they capable of doing?
Well, right now,
if I'm asking the right question.
yes, you're 100% right. You know, you're looking at 20, 30 years ago, investing was only put aside for the wealthy. You know, you had to be an accredited investor, had a network over $1 million to get into a lot of investments. You had to have a stockbroker. If you're from a small town, how many small towns really had stockbrokers like that? And if you was a stockbroker, most stockbrokers wanted you to have a certain amount of money. So when you had to have a certain amount of money, broker fees, the accessibility wasn't there. A lot of lower middle class and lower class, they were kind of stockbrokers, wealth managers didn't even come to them. It wasn't even the market wasn't even accessible to them, right? But now you look in 2021 where everybody has a phone, everybody has internet, everybody can log on to podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse, all these different things. You can get a plethora of knowledge. And now today with $1, you can buy stocks, because before the end of last year, Robinhood, one of the historic things that Robinhood app did was it got rid of fees. So before we had fees, before when I started investing, it cost about $10 to $12, and that was considered to be cheap to buy a stock. It was $10 to $12 you had to spend for transaction fees. Now you're looking at now today where it's zero. So now it's very accessible. People can invest into index funds, mutual funds. If you were living in the middle of, let's say, Georgia or Alabama, right, you can get online, and you may not have a financial advisor anywhere in your recent neighborhood or in your city, but you can get online and find anybody these days or anything and reach out, follow them, do your own research. So right now we have the most accessibility. The dangerous part I always tell people is, in my dad's generation, who's 75, which more like a grandparent generation, in his generation, they suffer from a lack of knowledge. This generation suffers from a lack of too much knowledge. It's so much information, you become paralyzed.
Wow. That's good stuff. So I heard you mention the Robinhood app. Is that right?
Yes.
Are there certain apps that people can go to actually start investing, to buy a share in a company?
Yes. The ones I like this is not sponsor or anything, but the company I like the most is E-Trade. So I like E-Trade, followed by TD Ameritrade, Charles Schwab. You have Robinhood. They're very popular because it was like the first app that came out that was it was free trades. And that was like a game almost. they made it like made it look so you like hit this buy button. It was no analytics. It didn't do all the jargon that normal stocks do. But the downside to that is that it's so much of a game. It doesn't give you basic data as an investor that you should be able to look up. If you want to compare companies, you can't do that on the Robinhood app. If you want to see financial reports, you cannot do that with Robinhood app. But it is cheap, easy. Anybody can get into it, and it looks like a little game. So I always tell people, in the world of investing, there's never a bad option. There's always good, better, and best. So the simple fact that you are investing is always a good thing. So that's the way I look at it.
Okay. So you would suggest everyone, if you do have the opportunity to invest, basically in a nutshell, everyone should be invested in something.
So I look at it this way. The answer to that is yes. But my ideology is my theory on life is that everybody is working to become a philanthropist. Everybody is looking to give back eventually. First, you want just a job. Then once you get a job, I remember my first ever job was Domino's Pizza. I just wanted a job to get school clothes, money, and drive around and things like that. So first you just want a job. Then people want a good job. Then once they get the good job, they want to move up in that good job. Once they move up in that good job, then they're going to want their own company. Once they have their own company, they're going to want their own company to excel. Once their own company excels, they're just going to focus on giving back, aka philanthropists. So that's the evident flow of everybody. And how does that tie into finances is when you're just struggling every day, you're not going to be thinking about investing because you don't have food, clothes, and things like that. But as you move up in the ladder of economics, where you start to do a little bit better and a little bit better, you're going to have no choice but to invest. Hey, I paid my bills. I have money left over. What do I do with this?
Right.
And so naturally, as you grow economically, everybody's turning into investors, whether they realize it or not. You're gonna say, "Hey, well, I paid my bills, I got this, I got my house, my car. What am I supposed to be doing?" Then they're going to branch out to maybe stocks, real estate, or business, hands down.
Right, right. I agree. What made you turn to, learn so much about stocks, and like what brought you to this?
I was introduced into finances. Being in the military, I was I started as a storekeeper on submarines. So that was my introduction into finances, inventory control and things like that. And then I went from finances to inventory control, from inventory control to I just ended up getting my associate's degree, my bachelor's degree, my MBA. Then going off and getting different licenses. I just took a liking to it, but that was my introduction. And once I completed my MBA, I started to look and say, well, what can I do to help? This is what I want to do one day when I retire, And when I looked at it, that's what I started to focus on. And social media was the thing that pretty much put me in the forefront. So I came on social media, I think, for the first time in 2013. And I didn't know social media was going to become, it was almost like a game back then almost.
Yeah.
And, I didn't know it was going to become to what it is in 2021, but it did. And it ended up doing, working out for me, of putting out financial education and knowledge. Because when I started to learn these things, I thought that, man, I was behind. Nobody ever taught me. And when I started to, ask my colleagues, they were just as shocked as I was. So when I found that out, I was just like, well, let me start putting this information out. So when I started putting that information out, that's when everything started to change.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Hello. Is that Fabrioso? Hi. And B32 said, how do I find my style of investing?
Oh, okay. Max. But what's going on, Max? The question is, you must first know you find your style of investing. You know what I call it? I put up a thing called the investing animal. Everybody is different. Everybody got different styles. Everybody just can't walk in and it's cookie cutter like, oh, you should have this. Some people try to do it by your age, but everybody's style is different. I have some people that I work with that call me every day. Then I have some people who don't call me at all. Right. Mm-hmm. So it just, everybody's style is different. So you have to sit down and learn this style. So how you find your style of investing, this would be my thought process. First, look at your job, whatever your job of or level of expertise. If you're a housewife, most housewives do the shopping. They go to grocery stores, they do the shopping, things like that. Or maybe they may work, they may do a little part-time job. Whatever that is, start there. I would say, hey, this is what I would do. And I believe that over time, your style slowly finds you. Some people like the fast glitz and the glamour of day to day, where some people are long term. I want to put money here consistently over time. Some people have a bunch of money. They're just looking to park it somewhere to make some money. So that's the way I look at it.
Good comeback. So for the ones that may not know too much, do you have anything that you could show us? Any type of, literature or anything you could give us?
I will say this, I could let me see. Let me kind of share my screen. Let me open up something here. One of the things you could do.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things we could do. Now I don't mean to, let's see. Pull up Yahoo Finance. That's like one of my go-to sources. I like Yahoo Finance because it's cheap and easy. Well, it's not even cheap, it's free. Anybody can get to it, right? Let's say, let me see, can I share this? Let's see, share screen. Okay, so this is Yahoo Finance, right? And with Yahoo Finance, you can, let me see, it's kind of a little sticky here. So right here, you can go to your streamers, right? So you can go to ETF, future, index screeners, or whatever, right? So let's say if you went to an equity screener, this is how you find your stocks, things like that, right? So you can go to your equity screener. This is where you're starting out. You're like, the world of investing seems so big, so massive, or whatever. I will say one of the secret weapons, especially house moms have, is that the kids will tell you what the future will be. So if your kids love McDonald's, or they always asking for a certain toy or something like that, make them investors into it. They love a certain video game, things like that. So because the kids are the future. That's why you see so many movies doing so great today. So let's say, for prime example, what company, what region, country. So let's say if you're, I know somebody's tuning in here from Brazil, right? So you have Brazil in here, you have China, Germany, Egypt, Denmark, Spain, all over the country. But let's say if you was doing United States, the next step is right here. Let's say market cap. Market cap is short for market capitalization. Small cap, mid cap, large cap, mega cap. Mega cap are your biggest companies. Small cap are your smaller companies. Your smaller companies are very risky because a small company has the likelihood to go out of business. But the smaller companies also can experience more growth. Like, for prime example, I have a 10-year-old son. If you look at us physically, he's probably going to grow more than me within the next 5 to 10 years, just height wise. The mega companies are pretty mature versus the small companies have a longer way to grow. So that's one way to think about it. Let's say if you're saying, I don't want to be, so if you're someone who's less riskier, which cap do you think you would go to, Frema? Putting on Frema on spot.
Yeah, but I'm definitely, I want to be a less risky type of person. Okay. I'm not doing anything that's, well, it makes sense when you say they have chance to grow, but I'm not I'm not that chick. So
okay, so let's say if you say, I'm looking at a mega cap company, I want a big company already, right? So right here, this is estimated result. You have 211 with that. Next goes in, they will say price. You can put in a price. Let's say, hey, I only have, this is when I told you how much money you have is very important because you need to know, right? So we're going to leave price open. You know what? Let's put $300.
Okay.
So the next step is, you see now we're down to 34 as a result. Now it's asking you, what sector do you want to be in? Do you like basic material, financial services, energy, technology, real estate, healthcare, industrial, communication services, customer center? Okay, communication services, right? And this is what you can pick more than one, but people say, well, Prince, what do you mean by I'm not very well versed in communication services. I know what Verizon is and AT&T is, but am I very well versed? Probably not. Now you're looking at inside of that industry, they're saying, hey, do you want to look at publishing, entertainment, electronic gaming, broadcasting, advertising agencies, internet?
I would say gaming because my son, he's a gamer. So
okay, let's electronic gaming, right? Let's see what we get here.
Oh, so God.
Now this is telling you at the mega cap position. So now when I go back at the mega cap position, there's no communications, electronic gaming, right? So now that means I may have to look at large cap. Let's go to large cap. So when I go to large cap, it's telling me there's one company there, right?
Wow. Okay.
So let's see who that company is. What's my result list? Okay, here we go. Fine. All right, Nintendo.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
So boom, you have a company like Nintendo. So then you go in, I found this company, Nintendo. It's a large cap company. Now you're looking at, okay, I had this company like Nintendo. It's a large cap company. It's in communications. It's in gaming. Boom. Now you found this company, Nintendo. Have you heard of Nintendo before?
Of course.
Okay. So most of your larger companies you're probably going to hear of. If we'd have done small cap, it'd have probably been a small company maybe you never heard of. So now the things I like to look at, I can look at the P ratio to tell me, okay, is this company profitable? Previously closed means that the last day it closed, it was at $571. The market cap of this company, how the market cap is 69 billion, how big the company is. And market cap is calculated from outstanding shares plus share price. It opened at $590. The beta, the 5-year monthly beta is 0.79. This telling me how volatile it is compared to the stock market, the S&P 500. The PE ratio, this is my price to earnings. If positive PE ratio, I can look at that immediately and tell this company is profitable. The higher the number is, quote unquote, people are to say it's more overvalued, versus the lower the number is saying that it could be potentially undervalued. Then you have your EPS, earnings per share stock. How much did you earn from it, right? So it doesn't have the earnings date. The volume is telling me how many stocks move in a particular day. So the next thing I'll do, I may look at their chart. So one of the things I love to do is when I look at the chart of a company, let's say we have a company like Nintendo. I thought we put our price tag at 300. I don't know why I brought this one up at 584, but okay. That's why I was thinking. I don't know why I brought this one up at 584. Maybe I typed it in wrong. Maybe I put in 3,000. Who knows? So, so the first thing I look at so far year to date, I love to compare you to how are you doing compared to the rest of the stock market, right? So let's say S&P 500. I will save it. I'll go to year to date. I can see right now it is underperforming. Nintendo so far this year is down 19%, right? So far this year. So then I will go back over a year. How have you performed over the year? Which one? I don't like that color. Let me change this color. I want a solid line. Sometimes, when they put light blue on top of blue, I'm like, that's crazy. I can't tell the difference. Let me put it in red. All right. So within the last year, it has underperformed the market. Let's look at the 2-year chart. Where is the red line here? Where are you at? Why does it keep going away?
I don't see it.
Let me go back out and come back in and bring it back up. So let's go to S&P 500. And S&P 500, this is the top 500 companies in America. So I'm looking at you over the top 500 companies in America. So you have outperformed them over 2 years. Then I look at 1 year. You have outperformed them over a year. But you're down so far this year. But anyway, the whole technology industry is down. So when I look at, okay, you're down, you're a technology company, I kind of put you in technology. If you're down, now I'm going to compare you to the NASDAQ because the NASDAQ itself has been down. I know it has been under the NASDAQ. So yes, definitely it's under the NASDAQ. Then it's under, let's see, I'm pretty sure it's going to be under over the year. I hate when I do this again. Let me change the color of this thing because I can't tell the difference. I want to look at both of them. Has it outperformed it that much? No. All right. Oh, you know what? I think it's probably hadn't been on the market that long. Let's see how long has this thing been on the market. Let me exit out of this. Let me go to the max here. Okay, it goes back to 07. Now let me add you on top of it. Change the color. All right. So this is all the way back to 2007. You've seen the major stock market crash. So when I look at a particular company like this, hey, you're profitable, but compared to the overall market, it has been doing good over the last 2 years and over the last year, but it has been underperforming the NASDAQ. So now what I will look at in Nintendo, right? Let's go back. The next step I would do if I was in the Nintendo space, where we at? It may not be on this one, but let me look at his portfolio. Let me see here. So another thing I would do with Nintendo is it's doing okay versus the stock market. Everybody knows technology is down so far this year, but let's go here to profile. And if you go to profile, this is going to give you a website, who owns a company and everything like that. You can go, this is the website. It tells you it's headquartered out of Japan. It falls up under communications, electronic, gaming, and support, right? Now, since you are a large company, I would go back and now I will compare you to who else is there. What is your competition? Maybe it might be Sega, or it could be a company I never heard of.
I don't know.
I didn't hear you.
I'm not a gamer. I don't know.
but that was one of the things I could, if I did a little bit more research, I could find out who probably is your competitor. A one competitor could be possibly, what's this company I like? Activision, ATVI, I think that is. Okay, Activision. For everybody that I do own Activision somewhere in my portfolio, so I don't want people to think that, hey, he's promoting this stock. No, please do your own research. So now I will look at you, and I will go to charts. And what was Nintendo's? And what I would do, I can't remember Nintendo's symbol off the top of my head, but I would go to comparison, and then I would name in Nintendo's stock symbol, and I would see how would they look, how have they been performing on the technical side of the house. Now that's the first thing on the technical side of the house. This is before you go into the finances. You go here to financials, and once you go into financials, I can see right here, they're telling me how much money they made in 2020, how much money they made in 2019, how much money they made in 2018, how much money they made in 2017. This is all free. Now, if you want to go back 10 years, you got to get Yahoo Finance Plus, right? So once you do this, now right here, this is the income statement. This is telling me the total revenue, how much, what was their gross profits, how much money they spent on bills, operating expenses. And if I go here to the balance sheet, this tells me how much money they have in the bank, total assets, total liability, working capital. Because, when you're a publicly traded company, that means it's open to the public. Now I can look here to your cash. I can look at your cash flow. How much cash flow? Are you cash flow positive? Are you cash flow negative? Is your cash flow growing or is it disappearing? Investing cash flow, where are you putting your money, all those type of things. So then I will look at that, then I will compare the two, and that's why I will look at starting my way to narrow down. And you can see Nintendo is something that has never really been on my mind, but you can see it's a company that how we found it by sitting here. And once you know what you like and how much money you have and things like that, you can say, oh, boom, okay, boom, I found Nintendo. Well, let's look up, we found Nintendo. Who is Nintendo's competitor? Let's compare Nintendo's competitor to whoever, maybe it's Activision. Activision makes a bunch of games like Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, things like that. Let's compare. Let's see which one looks the best. Activision was only $92 today. Nintendo was $570 something dollars. Then I will compare the two to see who's stronger financially. Nobody cares about finances as long as the stock going up. People don't start to pay attention to finances until crap start to hit the fan. People do that all the time. As long as the bill's getting paid, they don't care how they get paid. But once the lights start to get turned off, that's when everybody, whoa, what's going on? What's going on with the lights?
So you would recommend or say it is a must that you go back at least those 7 years to see how things are going, or you don't think they have to necessarily look back that far?
I won't say 7 years, but I will at least say 5 years to present. Because past performance is not a good indicator of future performance. But if you've never done something in the past, the likelihood you're going to do it in the future is pretty slim. Because if I look at your competition, if they're outperforming in the past and you're not, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not loyal to a stock or a company. It's just that, hey, I'm looking at who's going to make me money and make sense. That's it.
Absolutely.
If you're not producing, then, no offense, but it's like, hey, I'm just going to move on to somebody else or something else. That's the way I look at it.
That's true. Alan said if someone wanted to sign up for somewhere to start investing with stocks, how would they do that? Is that through the Yahoo Finance that we just did, or
no?
That's just kind of finding a company.
That's just finding a company. That's any open research that anybody can do. I didn't pull up a particular company because some people, like if I would have walked you through that and I'm like, oh yeah, you got to have a TD Ameritrade or E-Trade, you'd be like, well, I don't have that login. Thank you for being pretty useless, right? So I want to do something that anybody can go on and log in, and that was no login. Anybody can go do that. Doesn't require a login. Now you're looking for somebody who's looking to buy stocks. If they're looking to do it online, you can go in and push to, if you want to go in online, you got a couple companies like you got E-Trade, right? Let me see if I can share the screen again.
I think you probably diving right into that question that VLE asked. What stock apps do you recommend for beginners?
Okay. So let's say if you went to E-Trade, right? You go to E-Trade. This is like one of my favorite platforms that I like the most. Let's say if you didn't have an account, right? Let's say you go here to open an account. So now that you go into opening an account, now it's going to ask you, hey, what type of account you want? A brokerage account, a bank account, or a retirement account? Because you can't open up retirement account. If you are self-employed, you can still have your own retirement account. So you go to a brokerage account, right?
Okay.
Now you have a brokerage account. You have individual brokerage account. A joint account is when you maybe you and your wife, husband, or whoever you want to have a joint account with 2 owners, or you can open up a custodian account. This is something you do for a child. So if you have someone that's under 18, you can do that. You know, you're going to be the custodian for them. So once you have your individual account, let's say if I hit no, it's asking me if I already have an account. If you already have an account, they're going to line them up together. So for example, you're going to go here to fill out, you know, pretty self-explanatory. What's your name? I don't know, let's throw some stuff in here. What's your last name? Your phone number. Let's see. Your email address. Here. So right here is your email address. Let's say I'm just going to throw something in here. This is not a real email address. So once you go here, next is going to ask you for your address. You're going to put in your address information. And then, you know, I don't want to fill out a bogus account, but on this particular one, you're going to do personal information. Then it's going to ask you financial information. So it's going to ask you for your social security number. You have to be, if you don't have a social security number, you got to have an ITN if you're overseas or foreign, or maybe you got a green card or whatever. So it's going to ask you for your social security number, where you work, how much money you make, where's the money coming from. And they're asking you all those information to make sure no money laundering is going on. Right. So someone has dirty money trying to clean their money, right? So what do you work? What's your income? How much money you have in liquid assets, those things. Then after you get through the personal information, then the financial information, boom, you have an account. Once you have the account, now it's about linking your bank account to throw your money into the bank account. Once your money is placed into your bank account, you're ready to go.
Okay. So let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So I will start off with the Yahoo Finance to kind of see what I want to invest in, and then I will go ahead and do an E-Trade account so I can choose that company to invest in. Is that right? You can
have an E-Trade right off top. You know, it's nothing. Just because you have an E-Trade account, I mean, you got to buy something, right? Robinhood tonight or a TD Ameritrade tonight. Just because you have a credit card don't mean you got to start swiping it. You know, you can just sit there and wait, right? You don't have to say, "Oh no, I got a credit card. I got to find what I want, then go get the credit card." You can have an account there waiting for you, ready to go. And then once you are ready to, then you're using Yahoo Finance to do your research. But if you have an E-Trade or a TD Ameritrade, a lot of the research can be done inside of those. Things. So I didn't show that because some people may not have E-Trade or TD Ameritrade or Scott Trade, but that's the difference. And you can, you know.
And just to reiterate, Prince, you mentioned earlier in the show, but what stock apps do you recommend for beginners?
My personal opinion, I would say E-Trade. I like, you know, E-Trade, you get the app and you get the website. TD Ameritrade, you get the app and the website. Robinhood is quick and easy, it's fun, but you can't do a lot of analytical work or research that you would like to do, you know, like we just did on Yahoo Finance. That was that simple. So that's why I'm not crazy about them. I'll be more leaning to a E-Trade or TD Ameritrade. That's my personal take. This is nothing sponsored. That's just my personal thing that I like for, you know, for a beginning person. So
so E-Trade it is for me. I appreciate this. I appreciate you taking the time out, you know, to talk to us, talk to some beginners. You know, I learned a lot tonight. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us that you think we may need to know? Anything at all in general?
I will say this: if you're someone, just know you have to do something, and don't become so paralyzed. Don't feel like you're alone. Take me for example. I always tell people I'm not a very mechanical person. You're not going to catch me in my garage changing out a muffler or rotating tires. That's not going to happen, right? I'm going to go out and seek a professional. It would be the same things. It'd be the same thing if I want to go get a haircut. I'm not a barber. I'm probably going to go find a barber. So the same thing when you're in finances, if you're going through something, you feel like you can't get there, seek out the help of a licensed professional in your area that you could potentially trust. And that's what I would do.
Okay. Now, is this a service you offer, Prince? As far as advising individuals, or anything?
Currently not at this time. I'm private. I'm not open to the public. But there are plenty of people out there that will do it, but it won't be me. So, but there are plenty of people that out there, but I put out a lot of content to try to help people,
Right.
in the public, through the podcast and the show and stuff like that. But it wouldn't be something I would go out and I would go out. It's plenty of people, wherever city you live in. If you live in a small town, go to your nearest bigger city or big town and reach out to find someone. Hey, I'm not comfortable with this. I don't like it. Make sure they're licensed and make sure they're accredited, right? Make sure they're an accredited person and make sure they're licensed. You can look up anybody's license and accreditation and make sure they're a fiduciary. Fiduciary is acting within the best interest of their client. So those were things don't feel like you're at home by yourself, E-Trade app. Oh God, do I, you know what I mean? That was just my personal take. I would, because I know a lot of people that were like, man, I would love the best to start, or it's just not making me any money. I would say, hey, seek out the help of an expert. It would be something I would do. Yes, I can go on YouTube and learn how to change my money, but I don't even trust myself. So I'm going to go find a mechanic that I know and trust, and I'm going to go seek out help and advice. Same thing if it was a legal issue. Can I go online and Google and look up stuff? Yes, but I would probably if I had a legal situation, I would probably seek help of, my attorneys.
Right. Absolutely. Jonathan said he loved eating this food, bro. Spit and salute.
What's going on, Jonathan, man? What's going on?
Oh goodness. So how does everyone find your show? How are they able to tune in to watch the Investor Show?
The Investor Show it's a random show. Like, a lot of people can say, oh, I'm 6 o'clock at night, every night at 6 p.m. Unfortunately, the Investor Show is not there at this point. It's a pretty random show. But it is archived, meaning that anybody can go back and listen to old episodes. So, we just branched out to Twitch. So we're on Twitch, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all podcasts and platforms. We're on Instagram. So, any way, if you have a phone, any way you can get to podcasts, or if you have YouTube, if you like the video, like to sit down and watch the video. But we do live content, and the Investor Show is based around, and then we have the investorshowtv.com, and the Investor Show is based around 3 things, which we do interviews, we do tutorials, and we do commentary. So commentary on what's going on in the financial world and the markets. If you're someone who's like to look up, if you're someone who like to just know what's going on in the market, hey, what happened today? Does this make sense? We do that. We do commentary. With recent commentary, we do interviews, and we have a bunch of tutorials to show you how to open up an account with Fidelity, how to open up an account with E-Trade, how to open up an account with TD Ameritrade, Robinhood, how to open up with your kids. What is the ETF? What is the mutual fund? How to buy them all on your platforms? How to build portfolios? What is the index fund? When you see things in the media, what does that mean? We read financial reports together. We keep a pulse on what's going on around the globe. So it's a pretty boring show, so you should tune in.
But it's very informational. Like Viola said, great information. So y'all make sure y'all check out the Investor Show. He goes in way more detail. You'll definitely learn. So I'll be trying to tune in, Prince. You mentioned interviews. Have you interviewed anyone that's just wowing? That will be wowing to us that you would like to share?
Over the years, we've had a lot of, had a lot of NFL players, NBA, CEOs of, household name companies, a lot of celebrities. I won't say a lot of celebrities. I mean, a lot of well-known people who do well-known things. So yeah, I will say, that depends on what you're into, right?
What's your most memorable one? Which one would you say that stood out most for you out of your interviews?
Anybody that Warren Buffett, hands down. Warren Buffett was, greatest investor of all times, and nobody ever topped that one, especially how that one was done. We met together. We met. I've been up to his office and went to dinner together, stuff like that. He put me in the latest book of his life. Came out last year. Oh God, don't shoot me for this, but I can't think of the title. But it's Warren Buffett's book. It's the latest book of his life. Came out in 2020. Yes, that, and going to dinner with him and going to his office and him autographing and writing notes into each one of my books and video cameras, stuff like that. So I can't. He's 90 years old and nobody can. I don't think I can do anything that can top that. Right, in that capacity of him. But we've had Rich Dad, Poor Dad, whose name is Robert Kiyosaki, who's famous for Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The Cookie, Famous Amos, a very good friend of mine. Famous Amos CEO, the founder of Famous Amos. Dairy Queen CEO, The Wolf of Wall Street, the star of that movie. Wolf of Wall Street has been on, NBA players. And my latest book, my third book, I wrote it with NFL Hall of Famer Terrell Davis. He's we wrote that book. We put the third book out. He's a character in the third book in published in 2019. So yeah, him, football players, basketball players, Tyrese the singer. We just had Killer Mike. Tyrese the singer's been on Killer Mike. He was just on some politicians, some mayors, some.
Wow! So you just hit every angle. Boom, boom, bam.
Yeah.
Right. Don't be like Prince one day.
Yeah, but the thing is, I bring them all into my world of finances. I don't talk about what's your new album and music. Right. You come into my world. Like if you want, and there's been a lot of people there's been a lot of notable celebrities that decline me because they didn't feel comfortable talking about this.
They didn't feel comfortable talking about it. I don't talk about politics or anything. I just stay away from that.
Because some people feel like, hey, yeah, I got a new album, but I don't want to talk about my finances. But I'm like, well, that's not what this show about, right? Right. So everybody I bring in, I always try to bring them into, my world of finances. Oh yeah, we had the CEO of Red Robins, the CEO of Red Robins, the CEO of Dairy Queen, the CEO of Acorns, the app. Acorns are pretty. Investing app. She was the CBO. Branding officer. It's a long list. I have in my basement, I have a long list of majority of some of the noticeable interviews of people that I met with or people that I've done something with or whatever. Then also March 16th, back in my hometown, is Children's Financial Literacy Day. So
wow.
Back in Waynesboro, Georgia, that is Children's Financial Literacy Day. But yes, it's a, I don't want to diminish anybody to say, oh, well, this person is not. Everybody played a major role. I mean, whether they were a politician, whatever they've done in their lives, they all played a major role. But, it's been several people, iconic, interviews that we've done with, a lot of people in the financial industry, all type of CEOs of companies, franchise experts, people who own franchise, things like that or whatever. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate all this. I appreciate you sharing all of this information with us, coming on, taking the time out of your day to come on and talk with me and share your knowledge. So I do appreciate that. I don't want to hold you too long because, I start talking and yapping, but, I'm not going to do that tonight. Jonathan said always a good feeling to come to work all week and come home to Let's Sip and Talk with Frema. Well, I appreciate that, Jonathan. I really do. But if there's nothing else you would like to share with us, we can go ahead and give each other our Friday evenings back. Again, I do appreciate this so much of you coming on.
Mm-hmm.
And as we always say on Let's Sip and Talk with Frema, peace and love.
All right. Thank you.